And now we are live.
Okay.
Okay, well, welcome everyone, and thanks for your time and your attention to be here on our first Ask Me Anything session. And our guest is Antonio Feregrino, which is a software engineer and is currently working on the data science field. So let us know if you have any questions related to his experience, and just to get to know a little better Antonio and what is doing there, how get involved on the industry.
Well, I would like to introduce myself. As Jorge mentioned, I'm a data scientist with software engineering experience, because that's basically what I am. At the moment, I'm currently working as a data scientist slash software engineer. I started working as a data scientist in my current company, but then over time, I've been moving towards software engineering again. And I'm currently trying to focus my abilities into the intersection of these two fields. Just feel free to ask me any question related to these two fields. Or, it says ask me anything. I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer anything. But for sure, if your question is related to any of those two fields, I'll do my best to try to answer it.
Yeah, actually, the session will be focused on your experience, so no worries. We're going to help you with that.
Nice.
So anyone wants to start?
Yeah, actually, I have a question for you. It's something related from one of your tweets in your in your Twitter account about how easy or which requirements need the people or the software engineers that are studying their careers and so on, which knowledge they need to start like a data scientist, because on your Twitter you mentioned that there are some people there just saying that it's kind of easy and you don't need so much knowledge, and then just need with some libraries like pandas and other stuff, and you are completely set up to start like a professional data scientist. So and you mentioned that you actually need some knowledge. So which is that knowledge that you need to start like a data scientist?
Well, you have to understand that data science is like a very, very broad topic. So even if you consider yourself to be a good software engineer, you can put yourself or inject yourself into data science by basically using advantage of the knowledge you have. If anything, data science as a field, as a core field, lacks some certain degree of engineering, so to speak. There is not. It sounds like people say it's a science, or the name contains science, but data science sometimes looks more like an art, like a lot of experimentation, like a lot of fiddling with parameters of, I don't know, the models and whatever. So there is a big field for engineers to work on, to apply the knowledge. Concepts like mean, modes, the central limit theorem, those kind of things. You don't really need to know a lot of maths to get started.
Okay.
But I would say with your working knowledge of statistics, that's pretty much it. And I'm telling you, in understanding things like means, like the means, or like very basic statistic concepts, you can get started.
Okay.
Now, obviously, just imagine when you start using a library, and you haven't read the documentation, it's really frustrating. So if
Yeah.
you start working with these machine learning libraries and things like, and I don't know, like pandas is very basic, but if you start using some things like PyTorch or like scikit-learn or like Keras, things like that, obviously you should be able to read the documentation and understand what's going on if you start using these libraries. Otherwise, it's going to be very frustrating for you. The tutorials you see online, everything's pretty much set up for you.
Yeah.
So you, when you come across a real data set in real life, you have to be able to understand what's going on with the models. Or but yeah, that's what I say. To get started, you don't need that much.
Okay.
If you want to be like a full professional, obviously you need to understand what's going on.
Yeah, sure. So also, as we know, I think everyone here, your YouTube channel is called the C Sharp Guy. So you have already used the C Sharp to do the data scientist things, or just you use C Sharp for another things?
I mean, I mainly use, first of all, my channel is called that C Sharp Guy because I should have known better when I started it. I used to be a very, very C Sharp proponent, or like an ambassador to a certain degree. But yeah, nowadays I do a lot of things that are not related to C Sharp. In terms of data
Okay.
science, I haven't done any data science, like again, in a broader sense with C Sharp, basically because I think C Sharp is not like an experimentation level code, experimentation level language, as much as Python is. In the recent years, C Sharp has the Microsoft has come with some sort of machine learning library or framework for C Sharp, but that's just focused on machine learning. So yeah, I mean, I haven't used C Sharp to do data
Okay.
science. I have used it to do some kind of machine learning. In that
Okay.
sense, I think Python is sort of like the language itself. It's good, but the community around Python is better to do data science.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for your response. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, thanks, Antonio.
No.
So I would like to ask you one question. Which is the language, the programming language that is used in the real world that it works efficiently for to solve data science problems?
I mean, nowadays you'll see teams, data science teams across the whole world, basically using Python. And I mean, Python is, some people call it slow, blah, 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 but in reality, you don't really need a ultra fast language, like in like 90% of the cases.
okay.
So, like for example, in financial systems or in systems that require like really a really fast response, sometimes teams are forced, or companies are forced to move their code from Python to, I don't know, languages like Java and languages like C Sharp, or even basically they rewrite the models that their data scientists come up with in pure C++ or C. But I would say Python is all you need, and you're set nowadays. Obviously, this is not me saying just learn Python. Obviously, if you have the possibilities, go ahead and learn more languages.
Okay, that's pretty awesome. Seems like it's just as a career decision that every software engineer has to do to start to work on a project, right? It's something like if we're going to work on a web development project, we're going to use JavaScript, something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's just sort of like choosing the right tool for the thing. Yeah, I mean, there are many reasons why Python is so used right now. And it seems that it might, for most of the things, Python might be the answer, and you might be right when you choosing Python. obviously, there are a lot of things that you have to take into consideration, but Python is a safe bet right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else, guys? If you don't know to speak in English, don't worry. You can write us your question in Spanish, and I'm going to translate you to Antonio, so we can keep the interaction on English. Because the whole point of this is just to practice and get along on the language as at the time we're currently practicing the pronunciation. So no worries if you don't have this domain to participate. We are here to meet Antonio experience. So let's get to know it.
Well, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
can we hear
Okay.
you?
Thanks. Hello, Antonio. I have a question. What makes for you to call yourself a data scientist?
That's a good question.
Uh, Three things. The first one, I think I understand what data science means. That's sort of like the first one. The second one, I do have. I was hired as a data scientist, so that's another big motivation. And third one, I did a master's degree on data science. So, but the very very big one is that I understand what data science means. I have done data science both like as a hobby and professionally, and that's what makes me feel a bit qualified to speak on the topic. I'm not sure if that answered your question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Thanks.
Seems like Alfredo wants to speak. Let me just. Okay.
Yes. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can we
Yeah.
hear you?
Okay. Yes.
Loud
My
and
name is
clear.
Alfredo. I'm more like a sysadmin, so I I am curious. In your experience, Antonio, uh, what kind of projects have you been involved in, and what can you say about the computing requirements of those projects? Maybe one or two examples. I'm talking, for example, the computing requirements as a number of cores or amount of RAM needed, or even disk space or your data size. And how did you handle those with with uh, with which libraries or languages?
Yeah. Well, basically, without saying that much about the projects I've been working on, I've been working as a data scientist mostly with unstructured data. This is to say, basically just text and images. In terms of the computing requirements, obviously, when you were dealing with unstructured data, sometimes it is basically better, or it's like a no-brainer decision to go with deep learning, neural networks, and things like that. So, it's basically a lot of GPU computing. When it comes to infrastructure, I wouldn't be able to say so, to talk too much about it, because basically it was just a pure AWS. And once you train these models, you can basically run them anywhere. You don't need a GPU to run the models. Obviously, it depends on what kind of transformations or what kind of pre-processing you need to perform on the data. But most of the times, you can just train the models using GPU, a lot of compute, and then just basically move them to when you're going to make predictions, or when you're going to make at the inference time, you just basically move them to a smaller instance. In terms of what language were we using to perform these tasks, I mean, Python, obviously, for the machine learning code. And basically, we started using a tiny tool called something. It was just another Python script that allowed you to reserve AWS spot instances. I'm not sure if you're familiar with AWS spot instances, but it's basically a computer that you can just spawn. It's basically very cheap because it's using compute that Amazon hasn't sold or rent to anyone else. So you're basically paying very few money, very little money for the compute you're using. I hope that answered this question. Right nowadays, I'm trying to also focus a little bit on the infrastructure side of machine learning. But yeah, I mean, I don't know that much about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worry.
Thanks,
I have
Antonio.
another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned you have a master's in data science. Which university did you study it?
The University of Glasgow in Glasgow.
Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
It's a very beautiful university. You should check out just Google it. It's very beautiful. At least the campus and the school is very good as well, but the campus is gorgeous.
Insane. Okay.
That's pretty awesome. I'll look for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a big fan of Harry Potter, I think it's one of the places you should go at least to
Oh,
take some
really?
pictures.
Wow.
If you can go and study, go ahead. It's very beautiful.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, I have a question from our friend Alfonso, and he's asking, what kind of projects would you recommend to a beginner who is starting with data science? Let's say that he wants to get a basic grasp of many concepts of data science in a practical way. Something like the second step beyond the hello world.
Well, again, it sort of depends on what you want to focus on about data science, because most people basically think of machine learning when someone says data science. But machine learning is just an application, or sort of just another field within data science. For example, if you're a graphic designer, you can start getting involved into data science by creating visualizations, or if you're a software engineer, you can start getting involved into data science by creating, I don't know, a data extraction pipeline to help, I don't know, some like the actual machine learning researchers. So again, I would ask what sort of what's the background, or where is this person coming from, to give like a more accurate answer. Again, you can visit sites like kaggle.com and sort of just start watching what's out there.
Okay.
But yeah, sorry, you were going to say.
Yeah, he's coming from web development environment, so he wants to get started with that science.
Yeah, I mean, probably just checking tools like D3.js, or again, from web development. I mean, I'm not sure if that was just front-end web development. But yeah, I mean, basically, I would recommend trying to come up with good ideas to visualize data. And over time, you might be getting involved in, okay, I want to create this visualization. What kind of data do I need? Where can I collect it? Or how can I extract it? Or things like that.
Okay. So it's a whole process of learning, right? Just another programming language, another kind of project. You have to be selective and know what you want to achieve with that science, so you can keep motivated, right?
Yes, you definitely need some sort of motivation behind it, and the motivation has to be some sort of usually in the industry, it's a business goal that your client wants to sell more stuff. They want to reach a wider audience, and you start with this, and you start from that question, and then you boil down the details. That's why sometimes I feel like data science is a bit of an abstract, because it's not so easy to, because if you want to write, let's say as a software engineer, you want to practice something and you're like, okay, I'm going to try to create Twitter next time. But as a data scientist, it's kind of hard to find like a specific project that you can start working on as a beginner. But yeah, I mean, definitely the key is in just practicing and practicing. And again, you can just start with the knowledge you already have. If you know front end, again, try to get involved in data visualization, and then from there you can just basically start. Just like pulling a string, and then see what you can do next.
Oh, that's pretty amazing. That's a really practical approach, indeed. I have a question. We have a question from the chat, and it's from Tejedor. And how many interviews with the rector of Glasgow did you have? How was the process of get accepted of the university?
Okay, well, I did have 0 interviews with any rector or anything. So when I there are like 3 types of master, I believe. One of them is research masters, and the other is taught master's degree, and there is a third one that I know it exists. I don't remember the name. What I did was a taught master's degree, which is basically just like you attend some lectures, you do some practice, you attend some labs, and then you're evaluated with your coursework and exams. So basically, it's not like research master's degree where you have to have like an advisor, you have to have like a project that you're going to be focusing on during your master's degree. In my case, was more like an extension of my undergrad degree. And the process to get selected is to basically just apply to the university. The university reviews your qualifications, reviews your recommendation letters, and they basically just tell you you're accepted. And then from there, you just, in my case, I had to get a visa, and after the university accepts you, that's pretty much like a straightforward process. But yeah, again, at least there are 3 types of master's degree. The one I did was just like attending normal school, and the second one is a research focus, a research oriented master's degree, which I did not take.
Okay.
So I'm curious about something. Did you get a scholarship to while you were studying there?
Yes. It was funded by basically me working and main sources of money. One of them was my previous job. The other was a foundation in Mexico, and the other one was a scholarship. Yes.
Congratulations to achieve that, because it obviously isn't easy to get there. So congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Yeah, it costed a little bit of effort.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, it was very, very well worth it. Other than the knowledge that I gained, obviously now I can call myself a master, but which it feels nice, but I don't do it. Obviously, other than the knowledge you gain from studying, you gain knowledge by getting out of your comfort zone, coming and living in another country, and meeting new cultures, new people. You gain a lot of knowledge just by doing that.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that the most interesting part of the university was the networking, that you met new friends and started to work on projects, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, just what I'm telling you is basically because that's what I came here to study in Glasgow. I didn't want to just go and keep living like under the same conditions, and doing my master's degree in Mexico would have been a great option, because the particularly in terms of computing science, I think Mexico within the I mean, there is good professors there. Obviously, they bring professors from another parts of the world to teach you, to guide you. But I wanted to experience like living in another country and interacting with other people and injecting myself into another culture. And yeah, definitely networking wise was a very how to say it was very good. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty amazing. Thank you, Antonio. We have another question from Rogelio. He's asking, can you give us an example of what you are currently working on data science? If you
Uh,
don't have permissions to show, no worries. You can show us a GitHub project as well.
yeah, I don't want to be sued.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
uh,
You can share your GitHub profile.
well, my GitHub profile is full of non-working demos or
Okay.
Oh, damn.
things that I do like that. Yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised whenever you see people with their GitHub profiles like full that tiny bar if it's fully green. Um, ask yourself, is that really code that is worth putting in production?
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm agree
so yeah,
with
I mean, I can tell you about what I was working previously, like on a brief overview. As I said, currently I'm not too focused on data science. What we were doing is basically trying to make sense or extract information from basically web scraping.
you.
So when you see, I don't know, like an ad in the web, uh, you want to extract the data. You want to understand what kind of product that ad is promoting. You want to understand, I don't know, what kind of offer the product is showing, or that specific ad is showing. So yeah, I was working on that, trying to extract to make sense of text on the web.
Okay.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, just a brief overview of what I was using, what sort of tools I was using. I was using Spacey.io to do NLP, natural language processing. I was using some transfer learning to train some neural networks to sort of
Wow.
like to identify parts of the ad that were more like highlights within the ad. So things like that.
Oh, that's amazing. I found the tool. I'm going to share it on the Telegram group if you don't mind, so everyone can notice that can know that tool.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's one of the questions that I don't think I can answer properly. Again, I got my job as a data scientist coming off of university. They were not looking
Okay.
for a data scientist as such. They were looking for someone who had like software engineering experience and had data science knowledge, which sort of like fit my profile very well. I wouldn't say this that hard because now a lot of companies are starting to realize or have realized by now that they have some of them they just want a data scientist no matter what, and sometimes they don't
Okay.
really need a data scientist, I would say. So yeah, I mean, just put yourself out there. It's obviously just try and hopefully it'll stick.
Yeah.
Good.
Speaking of out to be there available for everyone, can you share with us the YouTube channel where you share all the knowledge of programming and some tips that you usually share there, so
Uh,
you can get more subscribers and share your work as well there.
yeah, I mean, can I? How do I share it with you? You can just go to youtube.com and write youtube.com that C sharp with C, and the sharp is like the pillow or like the hashtag symbol guy,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I found it. Let me share the link if you don't mind.
yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm going to put it here in the chat of Jitsi, and I'm going to put it on the Telegram group.
Yeah. I mean, again, don't be misled by the name. I was young. I was naive. I chose a very bad name, and I feel like changing it now might be detrimental to my to the audience I already have.
Yeah, as anyone, actually, I have a similar experience there when I was at high school. I was using the James P. Sullivan of the Monster University name. So, I was young and dumb as well. But you grow.
Yeah, I mean, just people make mistakes.
Yeah. Okay, so anyone have another question?
Yes, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I have a little question because what's the difference between data science and deep learning?
Okay, so deep learning is just a small area within machine learning. Machine learning is sort of like it's an area inside data science. So the difference between them is that one contains the other, basically. I wouldn't say that I wouldn't call that a difference as such. But yeah, I mean, you have data science, which is like a huge, I don't know, think of it as a cake. And deep learning is just a small slice of that cake,
Okay.
if that helps you to define the differences between them. Deep learning is, again, just is basically machine learning. And obviously, you have machine learning is contained within data science, or like in the intersection between data science and some other areas.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, just to plug my YouTube channel, you can find an explanation of this over there. People sometimes ask me, what's the difference between artificial intelligence, machine learning, neural networks, deep learning, and blah blah.
Okay,
So you can see a bit more of that over there. But yeah, I'm not sure if that answered your question. If it didn't answer your question, just ask me. Not again, because I'll give you the same answer, but you can ask me something else that I might be able to uncover the difference a bit more.
Okay.
Thank you, Antonio. So let me check the comment box of YouTube. But if anyone else wants to ask a question directly, you can do it. That's why we are here.
Yes.
Guys, can you hear me?
I have
Actually,
another question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No,
Thank
don't
you.
worry.
Thank you. Do you think the hacking is a discipline that data science must, or at least should know?
Hacking, as in computer hacking, I suppose. And yeah, I think I have a friend who's actually working on security, application security. He used to be like a hacker. I never got into hacking myself. Yeah, there is a lot of things that you can do with specifically machine learning and security. So yeah, I mean, definitely, if you're coming from that background, there is applications for you. And at the same time, there is a lot of research in terms of how to protect your machine learning models, your deep learning models from hacking in the sense of trying to fool the algorithm, trying to fool the model with some sort of like bogus input or just tampering with the input data just to get the results you want coming out of the model.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it definitely is something that is very. I mean, you can apply it if you're coming from that background.
Okay, I was asking this more in the sense that it will be maybe a task more related to data engineering, but how often do you have you been in the necessity to look for the data that is not in your hands? I mean, to look into the deep web or something like that.
Wow,
Okay. Oh,
that's a
interesting.
really good question.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't sort of like tried to buy someone else's social security numbers or anything. If that's the question, please FBI, I haven't done that. But you mentioned something that is sometimes it's really people don't shine a light on. But most of the time, as a data scientist, as a machine learning practitioner, you have to dig for the data you need or the data you want to use for your model. In the web, you see tutorials, you see people trying to show you how to do machine learning, and most of the time they already have the data set. There is a nice clean data set for you out there, but that's not the case in the industry. Most of the time, your job as a data scientist is going to be defining what kind of data you want to use or what kind of data you need to use, and then guiding the company or guiding your team on how to get that data, where to extract it from. Obviously, if you have knowledge on how to extract it, it's very useful. Again, in the strict terms of hacking or anything, there is a big push for data ethics. So I would say if you have to hack things around to get the data you want, you might not be complying with these data ethics guidelines. Sort of like the people working in data science is starting to establish. Obviously, if you're doing the things for good or you're like some sort of white hacker or things like that, it might get a little bit blurry with ethics and so on. But yeah, just sort of like come back to my answer. Most of the time, as a data scientist, I would say most of the time revolves around getting the right kind of data that you need.
Right. Thanks.
Seems like Galileo was about to asking as well a question. So go ahead, Galileo. We hear you.
All right. Hey guys, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering because I heard you a few minutes ago when you said that most of the time when you are working as a data scientist, you work for to structure the data that you or other people will work, right? So my question is, how often do you use SQL in your daily work? Or if you are not using it, why is that?
I mean, nowadays I'm using it almost daily because we're trying to move some data from legacy databases onto the cloud. But as a data scientist, please learn SQL. It's still out there. It's very used. You might not be querying MySQL database directly. You might be using some cloud technology. I don't know, like Snowflake or Bigtable. Is it the name Bigtable or BigQuery or something like that? But SQL, it's still out there. Please learn it. You're gonna be dealing with data. Basically the default place for data to be still is a relational database. So as a data scientist, it's gonna give you a boost in your career if you know SQL. So yeah, for my fellow DBAs out there, there is a lot of room for you to work on data science projects.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes sense actually.
Yeah. I got a question from YouTube from the user called the Satan. His question is, which free data do you recommend to practice?
Sorry, what was the question again? Which free?
I would like to say that is data schemas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which data schemas do you recommend to practice?
Data
Or
schema.
sources of data to practice as a beginner?
Okay, I might be getting the question wrong, but there are a lot of sort of like one of the big playgrounds when you can start exercising or practicing your data science skills is Kaggle.com.
Okay.
I suck at spelling, but I believe it's KAGGLE.com. It's like a big community for data science practitioners. You get in there, you get your Jupyter notebooks, you get data sets that you can basically use for free. You get challenges,
Perfect.
and there are competitions that you can get involved in. So yeah, I mean, I would say that this website, Kaggle.com, I'm not sure if you can just Google around it. Again, I suck at spelling in English. I don't know how to spell. I can't even spell my name in English. But yeah, it should be there. So please, if you can find it and share it with them, it's
Yeah, don't worry. We already got
Yeah,
it. Yep.
I already got
okay.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of schemas, I hope that answered your question, because schemas to me means like JSON schemas. I'm not sure if that's what he was talking about or what this person was talking about.
I think he said he was more like for data sets. Which data set do you recommend for starting in data science? Like, I don't know, COVID data set or something like that.
Okay, I mean there is like the basic ones I know about. Like all of them are in Kaggle again, like house pricing dataset or Titanic dataset or Iris dataset, which is like flowers. The MNIST, if you're getting started with the neural networks, there is a dataset called MNIST, which is basically handwritten digits. If you want to do like image classification, is one of the very, very basics that you can get started with. But yeah, I mean, just go to Kaggle.com. I believe they have like a beginner sections, and they basically guide you step by step on how to get started with those datasets.
Okay.
Yeah, was my mistake. Sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have a question. Does a data scientist need to be better at statistics or a software engineer? Uh, what do you needs? What do you think a data scientist needs to be better at, like statistics or software engineer?
I would say both. obviously, if you're coming from like a maths background, over the time, I would advise you to get more involved in terms of computing science.
Okay.
And if you're coming from computing science, like it was my case, obviously over the time, if you want to improve your career, if you want to again on just basically understand what's going on, you need to know to get some notions of statistics. You can do like I'm doing. I just basically got and some knowledge about data science, and I realized I didn't want to get more involved in terms of maths, in terms of doing like actual hard research, focusing on mathematics and becoming
Okay.
like a super pro in statistics and things like that, and just focus more on the engineering side of things. But you definitely need both if you want to succeed, and if you don't want to spend your nights basically bashing your head against your keyboard, not understanding why your model is not working.
Okay. Thank you.
But again, data science is not just machine learning. There are many things that you can do, and that would qualify you as a data scientist, or that you could say, I'm doing data science.
Okay. Thanks, Antonio. I got a question here from the Jitsi chat. It's a question from Eric. Hi, Antonio. I would like to know what obstacle in your career has been more difficult.
Mm. Um, and I'm not saying this because this is an English group, but the ability to speak English was one of the things that stopped me at some point from applying to different jobs. Like for example, I canceled like a couple of interviews with companies like Google and Microsoft, basically because I wasn't confident enough to take the interviews in English.
Yeah. Well.
Again, when I came to study here in Glasgow, they asked you for a certain level of English, and I felt obviously knowing English was sort of like a key, like a cornerstone of coming to study here. So yeah, I mean, I would say one of them was English, basically.
Wow.
So yeah, just learn, practice, do English, join the group.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that from our experience from this project, we seem like from some people that have been participating from time to time, they feel more confident to speak in English. So if you don't feel that you are not good enough at it, don't worry. This is the perfect space to practice and just to get along, to chill out about your interests on the language. So this is why we have the technical group, technical project, and you can join us on the Telegram group and the Google Meet calls. But at the end of this session, where we have one announcement regarding that, so stay tuned to that. But Antonio is in his own English club, so if you want to share with us, will be awesome as well, Antonio. Because I believe that you're using a Discord group, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Please don't ask me that much about Discord. I'm a late millennial who's learning how to use it. I know you can get a link. I would like to get like a permanent link, like something to I'm still working on that. But yeah, I mean, you can find us if you search for English Dev Club, and in Twitter, sometimes I use the hashtag.
Okay.
Obviously, I would try to share the link with I think Jorge is my main point of contact with you guys. Just sort of like if he can disseminate, or in the Telegram group, of course, I'm gonna post it. Yeah, it's again, it's just a matter of trying to help people. I know English is sort of like a hard topic I would like to say in Latin America. I'm not sure about other countries. I'm focusing specifically in Mexico, but I feel like it's not very encouraged by the public education system. They don't really encourage you to learn English, but it's a very, very basic skill nowadays.
Yeah.
I think. Mm-hmm.
So actually, I've got 3 questions from YouTube. So the first one is from Uriel. The question is, how is a data scientist different from a data analyst?
Well, I feel a data analyst just basically makes sense of the data you already have. So they give you some sort of basic idea of where your company is at, where it helps you make decisions. Whereas a data scientist might be able to model your data or use your data to make predictions, or other than, I mean, obviously they help you make decisions, but I feel a data scientist is more able to create models of your data to predict how to sell more, how to segment your customers. Yeah, I would say the basic difference relies on that sort of thing. Yeah. Obviously, as a data analyst, you can just make the move and jump into the data scientist role.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, thanks. So the next question is, do you think that people needs a degree to get into the data science world?
Yeah. No.
Well,
No. I mean, obviously, a degree means you sort of like. No, I wouldn't say it helps, but a degree, when it gives you some sort of like a structured path to learn, you can get this structured path from somewhere else or from anywhere else, basically. As long as you practice, as long as you understand what's going on, I think you don't need a degree. It's just basically. It is fun to tell people to call me a master, but I don't do it. I would say that that's basically one of the uses of my master's degree. But yeah, you don't need it to do data science. And please don't call me master. I'm just joking.
okay.
Yeah, it's
So
just a little fun fact. I never got my engineering degree. I finished the school. I passed my course, but I don't have a paper that says officially that I'm an engineer. So the master's is the only thing I have. So.
That's quite
wow,
interesting.
really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, but I passed the courses, huh? So
yeah, of course.
I did an engineering degree, but I don't have a paper that says I'm an engineer.
Yeah, awesome. Really, really awesome. So, well, and the third question here on YouTube is, which libraries do you recommend for Python or R for a statistical analysis?
I don't know anything about R.
Okay.
Python, obviously the basics, SciPy, Pandas, NumPy. Those are like the big ones.
Okay. So let me check Facebook.
Yeah, well, from the GT chat, we got another question from Eric. And how much time would you recommend to prepare for that science?
Oh gosh. I mean, I wouldn't be able to say like a specific time frame. I can tell you my master's degree was a year, 1 year. I mean, it's just a matter of practicing. Again, I mean, how much time does it take to learn to play guitar? How much time does it take to learn to play piano? I think it just varies from person to person. Yeah, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling you like in 100 hours or in 6 hours.
I'm agree with you because we are on a practical career. So the most important thing is to actually do things, build things, and just to get your hands deep on a specific topic you want to achieve. And the best way to do it is just to do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
On a typical day, what are the tasks you will do as data science?
On a typical day, just sort of try to represent my whole day. The other day I wrote a tweet regarding this, but let's say one of my most. I mean, that's not a typical day. A typical day just goes by checking if the data is already there for me to use. Once I define how to extract it, or once I left the whole process, like extracting some data overnight, maybe. And the next time is just the next thing you have to do is sort of like grab a subset of the data to start experimenting. So a data scientist is more like again, as I said, they call it science. Sometimes I like to think of it as an art because you're basically just changing some stuff and see if it works. Obviously, you generate a hypothesis and then you basically try to test this. You test this hypothesis to see if it holds or not. But yeah, I mean, most of my day as a data scientist goes by looking at Python code in a Jupyter notebook and trying to, again, just create a model that represents the data. Sometimes, as a data scientist, you're forced, not forced, but you should present your results in front of the stakeholders or in front of the even the CEO of the company or something like that. So sometimes, as a data scientist, you have to, I don't know, make a PowerPoint presentation. I'm very good at PowerPoint, by the way. Go to my YouTube channel, you'll see the animations I create using PowerPoint. So yeah, sometimes that's sort of like a job for the data scientist to create to be able to present your results. So that might be also sort of like a typical thing that you might be doing in your day-to-day basis.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully that answered the question.
It's necessary to have a hard computer or a computer with the components, for example, 16 of RAM is the to run a big project.
Well, if you're working with really, really big data or with a really, really big model, sometimes it's not feasible to have your own computer. As in, getting like an NVIDIA Super Pro X graphics card in your laptop or in your computer might not be the best idea. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that if you want to get involved in data science, you can do it by just using, again, as I said, Kaggle.com or Google Colab, which is another sort of like a free notebook application that you can use, again, for free from your computer. You don't really need to have a lot of disk space. You don't need to have a GPU in your machine to do data science.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's really, really necessary.
So, as you said earlier, you are using, at least for your work, some AWS instances to work, right? So you don't need to deal with any issues with the NVIDIA drivers or anything issue related with the hardware. You just use that instance and that's it. Am I right or?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In fact, I got myself a GPU card, and I haven't used it basically because
Wow.
I suck at configuring the hardware. So if you're just getting started with data science or machine learning, please don't buy a GPU or don't buy because if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to spend more time trying to figure out how to use your GPU rather than actually using it.
Okay.
Just go with Kaggle.com or Google Colab, or if you're doing, I don't know, like production, and you can afford to use AWS instances or a GCP or Azure instances, just use those.
Okay. Also, I got the other question from YouTube from Uriel. His question is, what is better, good data or good models?
Good data.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the models in data science are referred as garbage in, garbage out. So if you're feeding your model crappy data, you're going to get crappy results.
Okay.
So it's better to focus on data modeling, data extraction, data transformation, rather than just trying to make a model work with the data that is not good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Also, there is another question about from the Satan. To visualize data in Python, you have some other recommendations or tips and tricks?
I mean, there is plenty of data visualization libraries in Python. There are things like the very basic is matplotlib, and there are some others that build on top of that, like Seaborn or Plotly. tips and tricks. Try, if you're presenting your results, try not to use Matplotlib. It looks, to a certain degree, looks kind of ugly.
Okay.
Obviously, if you learn how to use Matplotlib, because most of the libraries out there basically rely on Matplotlib, so there might be some things that you should be able to fix, like manually, by basically using the APIs in Matplotlib. But if you can use tools like Seaborn or I think it's Plotly, I don't remember the name, but there are so many other libraries that you can use.
Okay. Yeah.
And obviously, if you can, it depends on the project that you're working on, but if you can try to make your visualizations interactive, because Matplotlib, and when you're doing data visualization in Python, it becomes like a very frigid, like a very static way to show data. And most of the time, in my case particularly, people are always like, oh, can you modify this, or what's this value, and things like that, and you don't really want to keep running your Jupyter notebooks over and over again. So if you can make it interactive, that's probably the best way to go, especially when showing to an external party or to someone who is non-technical.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, Antonio. I got a question from the Jitsi chat. It's from Eric, another question from Eric. And you must be prepared to get a job. What do you think about it? And I would like to help you answer that question. And I think that it is related to all the practical projects you did alongside your learning. So as long as you feel comfortable to the tools that you're using for, I think that you are ready. But I don't know. I would like to know what Antonio thinks about that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you're able to defend yourself, like for example, one of the clear examples, if you put something in your resume, you should be able to defend it. The same goes with your preparation or whatever, sort of like whatever you have done in the past. Obviously, you must be prepared, but you don't need to be an expert on what you're trying to on the position you're applying to. Basically, there are some companies that obviously are going to teach you on their technologies or in the languages they're using. So you don't need to be an expert. Just show what you have, and yeah, hopefully they'll realize if you're a good match, they're going to make an effort, obviously, to hire you and to train you on the specific things they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel identified by that feeling because when I was just right out of college, I was just like, I don't feel ready to get a job officially.
No.
I was something like, I get stuck at that point. And same as Eric is asking, it was something like, well, I have this experience thanks to these projects, so let me defend based on it and just to show them and make available for everyone so I can get opinions and maybe another opportunities around. So the simple answer for that question will be there is no perfect moment. You have to make it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an opportunity, just take it.
Absolutely.
You're gonna get something out of it. If it's a bad experience, you'll get a bad experience, but you'll get some experience out of it.
You will get something.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
absolutely. Thanks, Antonio. Okay, so is any other question? How do you feel, guys? We are almost achieved 1 hour. Yeah, I think that it is amazing to be our first Ask Me Anything session. I would like to say thanks to be here. Thanks for your time and chill out alongside Antonio. And also thanks to Antonio for being here and just to help us to start these new modalities we have here at Tectals. You are forever welcome to participate as well on the calls, on the chat. And thanks for making it happen as well.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for inviting me, and for sure I'll be showing up every now and then.
Amazing.
To see how it is going.
And how do you feel? Do you wanna
I
to end
think.
it all? How do
Sorry,
you feel?
I couldn't get. I think you sort of like your connection dropped for a bit.
Ah, sorry. Do you want to take a break, or do you? How do you feel? Do you want to keep answering questions, or how do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm sort of like free basically.
Oh,
So if there are any more questions,
Okay.
yeah.
okay. If there is no more question, I would like to say the announcement we have pendant. Okay, we have another question. Seems like on the GT chat from Tejedor, discrimination by English people in Glasgow. There are more people from India, China than Latin people. Wow, I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't say discrimination. Everyone in Glasgow is very welcoming.
Yeah.
It's a very
Nice.
nice city to live in. Very rainy, very cold, but a very good city to live in.
Yeah,
In my course, there was obviously. I mean, India and China are one of the most populated countries in the world, and obviously, if you know statistics, that's going to just reflect on an international school.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, very. I mean, very nice people. Obviously, all of them are there studying. All of them are learning. And it's very nice. That's something else that I would like to mention as well. You would be surprised when you're learning English. You think everyone knows more than you, but that is just not the case. Everyone knows different things,
Wow.
and in fact, it was very easy to me. It was very easy for me to communicate with some other international students because my English is broken, but their English is also broken. So don't be afraid. You will be surprised by the level of understanding that you can get speaking with someone else whose English is not a native language. So don't be afraid. Just talk. Everyone has accents. Everyone pronounces words
Yeah, of course.
poorly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. I'm agree with that because the most important thing of communication is just to share ideas and comment and talk about what you think about that or about the specific topic. And we have another question from Tejedor. Would you like to work in a startup or a FANG company? Just like meaning Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google company.
Um, I love the feeling of working in small companies. You get to do a
Okay.
lot of things. Obviously, there is more stability working in a big company. But even within my current company, I feel the company is not as big as one of these huge tech companies, but the company is sort of like it's a multinational company. But the team I'm working on is more like a startup within the company because we're working on a lot of things, and I just love that feeling.
Yeah, you name it. It's really cool because you are around another cool people working on other projects, and you just grow your skills as much as you met new people, and that feels amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Antonio.
Yeah.
So, is there another question? Let me check the box on YouTube.
I got one. Um, I I would like to know if you have to deal with dirt data that you have to clean before you have to run your data models and statistics and so on, or you already receive always the data without any issue.
No, I would say I would go ahead and say that's never the case, or that's almost never the case.
Okay.
Most of my time was spent removing HTML from data, for example.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean you would be surprised when you're like out there sometimes you have to figure out why this piece of data is missing, and you have to give an explanation for that. And sometimes that might influence your choice of model. So yeah, I mean, it is almost never the case. That just happens in I would say in movies, but that just happens in tutorials where you can get your CSV very clean, very nice. Most of the case, you're just dealing with SQL Server and you're trying to make a query to get the information you need, or again, as I said, you're just bashing your head against the keyboard because someone didn't write HTML properly, and you get some weird tags in between. Or even like if you're dealing with in Spanish, for example, accents and things like that, it's just very messy data out there.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Yeah.
Right, guys. Is there another question?
Yeah, actually, I'm just reading one from YouTube. It says, "Do you have some books you can recommend to understand data or data managing?"
Data managing. I don't have any books about data managing.
Okay.
I'm currently working my way through a book called Building Machine Learning Pipelines, which is something that I'm gonna focus on my career. But yeah, in terms of managing data, I don't think I have any sort of like specific pointers. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Don't worry, it's okay.
Oh, no worries.
Just SQL and
a lot of
and some
SQL.
yeah, a lot of SQL. No, I'm being honest. You would be surprised by the amount of SQL that still powers big companies. The same goes with Java. And you would be surprised by the amount of Java code that's out there. It's insane.
Yeah, I know. So
Fredo would like to speak.
Yeah.
It showed in my screen.
Sorry, I may have another question. Maybe it's too technical, but I don't know. What kind of software engineering methodology do you use? For example, if any, for your projects? I don't know. For data science projects, for example, is Agile used or something like that?
Well, that's a very good question actually, because like the natural agile way of approaching software projects doesn't really fit within a data science context. There is a really good book, in fact, that I can recommend you. It's called precisely just like that, Agile Data Science. As such, there is not like I haven't used like a particular methodology. My team, my team uses Agile, and we tried our best to fit this data science lifecycle within the Agile methodology. It's a bit tricky because Agile basically just means you have to show progress every to give like a tiny update every single day, for example.
yeah.
But with data science, it's kind of hard to set goals and to know when your experiments are going to be done, because obviously there are experiments. There is some degree of uncertainty every time you take on a new project. So you cannot just like provide an estimate as Agile asks you to do. But yeah, I mean, that's one of I wouldn't call that a research topic. Sorry for the ambulance.
Don't worry.
It's just 2 in the morning. Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, there is it's an area that I would say needs a little bit more work, a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, if you're interested in that, check that book. It's called Agile Data Science 2.0 or something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, there is another thing that I would like to share with the audience as well regarding
yeah,
English.
come on.
The first 3 months in my company, I basically had a hard time understanding English. So
Okay.
if don't be afraid to ask people to reply to say things again.
Okay.
It's better to ask, and I don't know. You don't look like a fool or anything, but it's better to look like a fool, quote unquote,
Yeah.
than just doing the wrong thing and looking like a fool anyways. So just ask.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be that they're speaking better English than you, and sometimes it might be that they're speaking worse English than you. But just ask people to reply to say again the things you didn't understand. You don't look like a fool, by the way. I'm just saying, but
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. I'm being serious. The first 3 months, I was basically. Can you say that again, or can you repeat that to me, please? Just and I still have a job, so just do it. Don't be afraid to ask people.
Yeah, actually, I already.
Yeah,
Uh, but what did you say, Jesus?
I think Jesus is
Yeah.
gone.
Okay. Yeah, I already heard the same comment about that from other people that I already know here in a previous company that I already, yeah, with friends from a previous company where I was, and yeah, they always encourage you to always ask, and even they got so much patience with me that I could write a list of steps of what I was doing, what I need to do by the end of the week, for example. So even if the meeting was extended by a few minutes, I already I was always secure about what I was doing. What I was doing and why. So and also I want to share that at least for my experience that the people from the India and the people from the Americans were very kind with me. That's at least my experience, of course.
Yeah. I mean, again, there is very very nice people everywhere.
Yeah.
I have a sort of like a close relationship to people from India. They have an accent, but
Yeah, sure.
I mean, everyone has accents, and you get used to it.
Yeah. Actually, I prefer to talk from people from India because at least my partners, I understand their accent better than the Americans.
Well, yeah.
So I don't know if there is another question from here from Jitsi or from you guys to
no,
are
I think
connected
not.
here.
I already.
Oh, well.
Go ahead.
What was tax? Tax? Oh, okay, like tax data sets. Well. I mean, just. Can you repeat the question again? The first part. I got it a bit distracted by. Okay. I mean, just make sure you you're able to version this data, or to you want your things to be reproducible. You want your again, just data is your most valuable asset in this case, right? So just make sure you're able to store this data, to version this data. It depends on what kind of data, obviously. I would say probably using like solutions like Snowflake, or like these big data storage platforms. Obviously, it depends on your and the size of the data you're sort of like using. But yeah, I mean, that was a hard question, huh? Yeah, I don't think I answered the question. I was just going around in circles. But yeah, I mean, if you figure out, just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries, Antonio. Well, I think that we're going beyond 1 hour. I think that it's a fair time to spend it on a Ask Me Anything session. So I would like to end this session. Thanks again to the assistants and the people who joined it. And thanks again to Antonio, who shared your time and knowledge about that, which is really interesting and was really fun to talk with you. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I hope to have you on the calls to practice the English as well. And the another announcement that I have for Tech Talks is that starting this week, we're going to use our own server of Jitsi. As you might notice on meetdevspace.mx, we're going to establish for each weekly session. So we have more freedom or for our own space to, and we don't know depend on Google Meet or Zoom or something like that, where we just have our own thing, and I think that's pretty awesome. This is this is a goal achievement from DevSpace community. I would like to say kudos to Alfonso, who were behind setting up all the necessary stuff. Thanks, Alfonso, to do that, and we're happy to use GT starting from now. So
I have a question regarding that, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is it running in like sort of like in some cloud, or is it running like in literally in one of your guys' computer? Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Nice. And I suppose you just turn it off once you're not using it, right? I think you just turn it off when you're not using it, or do you just let it run the whole time? Let it burn through your money? Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool. I really appreciate the effort, guys. It's quite impressive what you have set up so far. And I didn't know this too. I for sure I'll try to use it somehow.
Yeah, sure. Let me share with you the guide we used to set up the environment with Jitsi, and which is from the official documentation from Jitsi, so you can use it as well. I'm going to post it on the Telegram group. This is all the setup regarding software. We're running on our own computer, so the special thing is that the DigitalOcean server here, because if you're using the Jitsi default you have a limit for 1 hour to do a live stream. So we currently are running, if we check the YouTube time, we're currently running 1 hour and 25 minutes. So we don't get an interruption regarding that.
Yeah, but by the way, I would like to thank Fernando Gallardo from Tomato Bailey and Academy for letting us to use Castro service.
Sorry, guys. It's silenced that way.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for the effort on sharing your resources for Fernando and Tomato Valley, which is really cool. We appreciate that the sponsorship because, as Alfonso said, this is a community-driven project. So when we need it, we put money from our own wallets. So I think that's pretty amazing that to have this kind of help.
Yeah, it's really nice. Thanks for I don't know, again, just like providing this space for the community.
Yeah, we can do it somewhere in time if you wish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. For sure, I'll try to come more often just to join the talks.
It will be awesome.
Yeah, time-wise might not be very friendly, but maybe we can open a branch for Spaniards, maybe. I should be able to help more with that. No, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still there in Telegram. For sure, we will be more active. And again, for sure, I'll try to come up with ideas, and I'll ask my other Discord mates on how they would like to get more involved with you guys. Because yeah, I mean, definitely, it's really cool. It's a really cool project, and yeah.
Thanks, Antonio. We are going to accept your collaboration as well because we're just well. I would like to say officially that Jorge Acero is joining us in the organization's team, organizer.
I know that guy.
Yeah, actually, Jorge suggested me to invite you to our first Ask Me Anything session. So thanks to Jorge to make to make this idea more realistic.
Yeah, don't worry. I just saw the tweet and then I shared with you that.
That's amazing.
Hey, wait a minute. Are you Jorge? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, this might be not be part of the discussion, but obviously a lot of things that I tend to do in YouTube are mostly in Spanish. But when I write these things, I write them in English. So I'm thinking it would be nice to be able to sort of like come and try to explain these ideas or whatever I produce from time to time in English. Again, just to keep practicing my English, and hopefully you'll be able to understand it. And so yeah, I mean, I'm thinking something. Just bouncing ideas. I mean, yeah. Again, this might not be a good idea to very entertaining for people to see. But yeah, we'll come up with something. It's really cool.
Yeah,
we're open-minded with that. So don't hesitate and share the ideas would you like to share with us. And I don't know, guys, but I would like to end this session. So thanks for your time and being here. This was really awesome to start this session, and we have a surprise Let's hope it for the next week, so everyone will get notice what is about it. But
Oh, snaps.
we have other things. We have cool things coming next week, so stay tuned.
Sure.
Cool.
I'm going to end the YouTube transmission so we can say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Remember to visit that C# guy
Bye.
YouTube.
Yeah.